Welcome to Must-See Matches of the 80s, where I'll be discussing the key matches that every wrestling fan should add to their watch list. For our inaugural episode, we will be tackling the Magnum TA Tully Blanchard I Quit Steel Cage match from Starrcade 85. This is one of the greatest matches of all time, and in my opinion, the greatest I Quit match in history because of all three people involved. Magnum, Tully, and Baby Doll played their parts to perfection. Magnum, the valiant babyface who has to resort to his dark side to match Tully's wicked ways. Tully, always the perfect heel, whose viciousness and sense of urgency combined with his selling is top-notch. And Baby Doll, whose helplessness of being locked out while watching her man get beaten from pillar to post sells the violence of the match perfectly. To quickly review how we got here, Magnum TA entered the Mid-Atlantic territory in late 1984 after finishing up in Bill Watts' Mid-South Wrestling. He quickly began a feud with Wahoo McDaniel for the NWA United States Championship, winning it March 23, 1985, ironically in a steel cage match. During the summer of 1985, TA began feuding with the Four Horsemen, and in particular Tully Blanchard, who took the title from Magnum in July of 1985. After Magnum unsuccessfully battled Ric Flair for the NWA World Championship, he refocused on regaining his US title from Tully. The rivalry heated up through the fall of 1985 thanks to Tully's cocky promos, TA's tricks to one-up him in the ring, and especially during an interview segment where Magnum forcibly kissed Baby Doll.
You know, it's about time that you found out what it's like to be with a real man.
Yeah.
After many months of dodging by Tully, the match everyone wanted to see was finally signed to happen at Starrcade 85.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next event of the evening is for the U.S. Heavyweight Championship. In order for a contestant to win, his opponent must say to him, "I quit."
The date is November 28, 1985. The place is the famous Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina. Starrcade 85, I Quit match. The crowd is ready. There's a genuine feeling of anticipation amongst the fans and almost some concern about what they will see. Tully comes out to the ring in a custom robe with his perfect 10 Baby Doll by his side. Magnum is already in the cage as intense as ever. They start off the match circling each other carefully and set the tone immediately with a stiff lockup. Tully pushes Magnum to the corner and attempts a punch, which Magnum blocks, returning fire with a hard punch of his own. Tully, ever the amazing seller, backs off and sells both the effects of the punch and the concern about what he is up against. Tully uses a single leg to take down Magnum and they roll around the mat, each trying to gain the upper hand. Tully gets the advantage with an eye rake and begins working Magnum over with punches and uppercuts before Magnum fires off a few rounds of his own to take over. Tully once again sells the punches perfectly, going down on one knee, then staggering back into the cage. At this point, we get the first tease of the use of the cage as a weapon, as Magnum tries to slam Tully's head off the cage, while Tully fights like his life depends on it, trying desperately to not let it happen.
You gotta realize these are two of the top athletes in the whole world. I'm talking about the sports world. These men are after one of the top prizes. It's motivation. And look at Baby Doll.
The camera swings to a concerned Baby Doll, who plays her part perfectly in this match as well, while Tully finds a way to stop Magnum from using the cage. Tully gains the first real advantage in this match by climbing the ropes and slamming an elbow on Magnum's back before working him over on the mat. Then Magnum is introduced to the cage as Tully fires him in viciously.
Oh, that was right hard on the forehead into that steel cage.
Tully immediately jumps on him and puts him in a rear chin lock to show off Magnum's freshly busted open forehead.
Magnum already appears to be cut after having just hit that fence.
Tully maintains control as Magnum slowly works his way to his feet, pulling Tully's hands off him in a great show of strength before Tully cuts him down with a stiff knee to the ribs. Tully attempts to Irish whip Magnum into the ropes, but it is reversed into a gorilla press by TA, who then drops him throat first into the ropes. A brief bit of offense by Magnum is cut off by Tully with a kick to the gut, and after an exchange of punches, Tully uses the tights to catapult Magnum into the cage. It is at this point we get our first attempt at an I Quit as Tully shoves the microphone in Magnum's face. TA finally gives Tully a taste of the cage as he fires him in shoulder first while using an armbar.
Now it's Tully's turn to hit the cage.
Tully comes up with a bloody wound on his shoulder and a busted open head. Magnum shows his vicious side as he rips and tears at the wound. The camera once again pans to a frightened and disgusted baby doll. Tully is a bloody mess and reeling as Magnum shoves the microphone in his face, demanding he say, "I quit." To his credit, Tully defiantly screams no and halts Magnum briefly with a headbutt to the stomach. The two bloody combatants fight from their knees and Magnum wisely targets Tully's shoulder, even resorting to biting the wound at one point as Baby Doll screams at him to stop. Desperate Tully rakes the eyes to escape, then screams in agony.
Oh my.
Tully delivers a couple of stiff kicks and grabs the microphone, demanding Magnum say "I quit." When Magnum refuses, he turns the mic into a weapon, bashing it into Magnum's forehead multiple times before demanding he quit again.
The microphone. Oh, he hit him with a microphone.
The frustration is mounting as Tully pounds away at Magnum with his fists. The combination of desperation and hate is etched on Tully's face. An exhausted Tully is barely able to lift Magnum up to stun gun him into the cage, and he slowly makes his way to the top rope to drop another forearm on a kneeling TA. It is at this point Baby Doll shows her first sign of confidence that her man is going to win. A frustrated Tully grabs the microphone once again, but Magnum refuses to die.
No.
Tully drops a stiff elbow. I mean, there was zero air between his body and Magnum's, and goes for a second elbow drop, but Magnum rolls out of the way, and an exhausted TA begins his comeback. Magnum grabs the microphone, and this time it is a defiant Tully refusing to quit. Baby Doll is back to a look of horror at what she is witnessing. The two weary combatants roll around the mat, desperately clawing at each other like wild animals, hoping to gain the advantage. Tully finally does so with a rake of Magnum's eye. We then get both men on their knees exchanging back and forth blows. This is not New Japan Strong Style or modern Yay-Boo exchanges. This is two men physically taken to the limit, using every last ounce of strength in their body to fire off haymakers at their hated opponent. The exhaustion is palpable. The crowd is on the edge of their seats. Magnum grabs the microphone, but once again Tully fights him off. After an exchange of blows, Magnum mounts Tully in the corner and rains fists down on his forehead. Not 10 choreographed blows counted out by the crowd, a technique consistently overused by today's wrestlers. We're talking rapid-fire fists meant to hurt his opponent. Tully somehow gathers the strength to deliver a reverse atomic drop, then once again demands Magnum say "I quit." And once again, Magnum will not give up. Tully ratchets up his attack, dropping elbows and knees, and then shows he has reached peak desperation by tossing referee Earl Hebner down so Baby Doll can toss him a wooden folding chair.
And now he kicks down the referee. Oh! He's made a spike out of it.
Tully shows why he's the ultimate villain as he smashes the chair on the mat to get a sliver to use as a makeshift spike. He tries desperately to drive the spike into Magnum's head while TA heroically fights him off.
Magnum's trying to fight him off.
The visual image of the spike coming centimeters from Magnum's eye is brutal. The fans desperately cheer for Magnum to fight Tully off. Both men are exerting every last ounce of energy at this moment. The crowd is at a frenzy when Magnum finally is able to knee Tully 3 times to break his grasp of the wooden spike. While Tully is dazed, Magnum slides on top of the weapon, grabs it just before Baby Doll gets to it, rises up and drives it down into Tully's head in the last act of unbridled rage, much to the delight of the ravenous crowd.
He's got a piece of that chair.
To Tully's credit, he fights for a few fleeting moments, but the pain is too great, and when Hebner asks if he quits, he starts screaming, "Yes!" The referee takes this as an acknowledgement that he is quitting and calls for the bell. This is an important point, because now the heel has an out and a gripe, as he can stay strong by saying he never spoke the words, "I quit." Baby Doll rushes into the cage to attend to her fallen fighter, and then comes the moment that turns this match from an amazing fight to an artistic masterpiece. A bloodied and deranged-looking Magnum TA, your new US champion, approaches the vulnerable Tully Blanchard, still holding the wooden spike, looking like he is going to finish him off for good. Tully is bleeding, in pain, and begging for mercy as Magnum hovers over him, and for a brief moment, looks like he will once again plunge the weapon into Tully's skull. It is at this moment that you can see that Magnum has a moment of clarity and decide the fight is over, dropping the weapon with a look of disgust on his face as if to say, "Tully, you aren't worth me selling out my principles." He then walks out of the cage with the US title over his shoulder to the cheers of the fans as Baby Doll tries to console the broken Tully Blanchard.
The winner of the match and new U.S. heavyweight champion, Magnum TA.
Shakespeare himself could not come up with a better ending, and is why I consider this to be the greatest I Quit match in the history of wrestling. But hey, that's only one man's opinion, so let me know in the comments section your memories of this great match and whether you agree with my assessment. Thanks for watching, and if you want more Magnum TA, check out these videos that YouTube suggests him right now.